What's up guys, NepentheZ here and welcome to a Foot Champions discussion video. This is going to be a vlog actually, after some discussion on Reddit and discussion on the Twitter in general. I just wanted to talk about Foot Champs, matchmaking, ELO, ranking, etc, etc. What I was going to do from last week but I never got around to recording it was every Sunday now is going to be talking vlog like this or podcast style thing. With the fact that FIFA is just generally, winding down, I thought going down to six Road to Glory videos a week would be better for the series because it would allow me to keep it creative and the videos interesting, and we'll get the 7th video per week as a vlog, as a talking vlog. So today I want to talk about matchmaking, and I want to first of all clarify a few things that a few people are just wrong on, and I'm going to be wrong a few times in this video as well. Don't get me wrong, I don't feel like I'm above and beyond everyone else, but I know some things, of course, because of who I am and what influence I have in the community and the community managers and etc. I get information sometimes that other people don't get, and I don't know why it's not public information. I think that's a big problem with EA. But yeah, going forwards, dudes, we're going to be having these as hopefully podcasts. Bring the show back. It might be with different hosts. It might be with no hosts. It might be me just bringing on new people every single week. So, one week maybe AA. One week will be Bateson or Marshall or Nick or Castro or people outside the FIFA gaming community to talk to and talk with. But for today, I just want to talk about Foot Champs and ELO, matchmaking, rankings, etc. This isn't based off of me having bad luck either. I'm doing alright in Foot Champs this weekend. The time I'm making this video, you won't see these games until tomorrow, but at the time I'm making this video, I'm currently 23-7. So I'm far on course for Elite 3, which is massive for me this week, with the rewards that are there. With that being said, it's of my opinion that Foot Champs is stupid the way it is. And the reason being is because you can match up against seemingly anyone. Now, I tell you this as a fact. There is matchmaking in Foot Champs. It is not random. And if it was random, it would be horrendous. You would see far, far more people going 40-0. There are far more bad players and players that don't finish all their games compared to good players. So if there was completely random matchmaking, I would most likely go 37 or 38 wins in a week at least, just because of how skilled I am. And I'm not saying I'm the best or anything, like, don't get me wrong, but because of how skilled I am, because of the level that I'm on, there's, like, if you think of the top level and then think of just a big pipe that's just full of players, and if you put me because I always get Elite 3 as pretty much general standard, my Elite 3 puts me in a very high percentage of players, probably puts me in the top sort of 5 to 8% players in the Foot Champs ranking system. So if I'm in the top 5 to 8%, that means that there's 92 to 95% of people that aren't as good as me. Now, of course, you can lose to people that are worse than you. That's a given. I've lost many games to people that I felt like were worse than me. But what we're talking about is we're talking about the top 5 to 8% versus the rest. So if it was random-based matchmaking, the likelihood is that I would come up against the people way below me. It would be very unlikely that I would come up against randomly someone that's on my level or better than my level, or even just around my level, top 10%. It's more likely because of how many more people there are under my level that I would come up against lots of, probably 40, lower ranked players. And then it's the same with all of the pros and all of the top 100s, the Marshalls, the Batesons, the Gorillas, the Tasses, everyone you can think of that you always see their name in top 100 with 36 wins or 37 wins. These people are so good that if it was random, they would end up getting 40, and what you'd have is you'd have 100 40-0s minimum, probably more. So it might be a situation where you would actually go 40-0 and you still wouldn't make top 100. That would be with random-based matchmaking. That would be very, very bad. The way it is now is there is supposedly success-based matchmaking. So I was told by Rob Hodson in a DM, and I don't want to share the DM overall because it's obviously that's a private message, but the general thing that he said was that the skill points are not used to generate matchmaking. The Glico 2 system that does create matchmaking is for skill points only. It doesn't create matchmaking in FIFA. It is used as a matchmaking tool in chess, But in FIFA, it is only designed to create skill points to separate the people on the same number of wins in the top 100. So there's that, which then means there is success-based matchmaking. Those are his words to me. There is success-based matchmaking. I am very intrigued to understand what success means in matchmaking. Today alone, for example, I came up against a guy who was 25-3 whilst I was 20-6. We are not in the same tier. I'm in gold 3. He is in gold 1. He has half of my losses and 20% more wins. He had an 89% win rate versus my 78% win rate or 77% win rate. That for me is not success based, which means it also probably bases it on proximity. Marius Herbsith, who used to work for EA, I believe he does work for them or does like freelance work for them again now, proposed to me on Twitter 2 options. He said, and he didn't say this out of it, he's not speaking on behalf of EA, but it's definitely an intriguing scenario. He said to me, would I rather even-based skill matchmaking with laggy games or smooth games with unbalanced matchmaking? And those were the options he proposed to me, and I found that interesting because for somebody who works for and has worked for EA in one capacity or another, for him to offer up those 2 options must come from somewhere, you know. And I say this, you know, perhaps this Marius watches this video, perhaps this gets back to him. I know he's not speaking on behalf of EA, but he definitely has more information than me and than you from EA. So I wonder if he knows, and this is me just literally taking a stab in the dark, I wonder if he knows that matchmaking sometimes gets waived, or to a degree, to give a smoother connection in game. And I mean, that's laughable in itself because we all know about the connection problems, the speed up lag, the disconnects, etc. But it made me think, it provoked a thought from me that perhaps there's a scenario where it might think, okay, I can match him against this guy who's on his same level, and it would be a very imbalanced game connectivity-wise because this guy is, you know, miles away. Or I can match him against this guy who's better than him, but it would be a far smoother game. So perhaps off of that, EA prioritize geographical location above matchmaking. So it might be a situation of, okay, you're here, we're going to find you players in here. Now these are all the players in here. Now we're going to find you the closest matched player that is also searching for a game at that time. And that could then be, oh, that's why you know, I've literally, somebody tweeted me today, he was 7-6 and he came up against one of the top rest of the world pro players who was 30-3. So it might be a situation because the rest of the world has a smaller pool of players and much harsher server dedication, that it might be a situation where it's like, okay, you 2 guys are quite close in proximity, you're both searching, and although the skill isn't completely even, we're going to have to put you together because there's just no one else. And that's wrong. That's not how it should be balanced. So what I would like from FIFA, and what I would like out of FIFA Ultimate Team, and what I would want from you know, from Foot Champions, is what every other esport has, and that is a ranked ladder with tiers and matchmaking, in elo-based matchmaking. So you can see your rank, like on Overwatch, you know exactly how many points you have. You can see what rank you are, you can see how many points you've got. When you win a game, you can see how many points you gain and how close you get to the next rank. And when you lose a game, you can see how many points you lose and how close you go down to the next rank. In FIFA, I would like this. What I would like is for, at the start of the month, you play 10 placement games. Those placement games are random because this is what generates you your ELO points initially. You know, everyone starts on a set ELO, say 1,000 points. So in the placement games, you just play against randoms, and if I'm 1,000 points and come up against a guy who's also on 1,000 points and I win, I gain 25 points. If I lose 12 points, because you don't get as harshly punished for losing as what you gain for winning. And then what happens is everyone gets their placement matches done, and after the placement matches, you are assigned a rank. So let's say I get assigned rank gold 2. Let's say I had a bad placement, you know, 1-6, lost 4, and my elo gives me the ranking point system that puts me in gold 2. Now I have the whole week to just play my games, as many or as few as I want, to help promote and degrade my rank. Now, a lot of people say, oh, what if you just get placed highly and you just stay there and you never leave? Well, as with, again, most other most other esports, there is decay. So if you don't play over time, you will just start losing elo because you are not playing. So in FIFA, I would expect the same. I would expect at midnight every night for there to be some decay for people who haven't played a set amount of games per week. So it might be a situation where you play your initial 10 ranked match or placement matches to get a rank, and then you must play a minimum of 40 total games per week to remain in the rank that you're in. If you play less than 40 games in the week, you start getting decay. So you start losing elo points every day if you're playing less than 40 games per week. You know, that I think that for a competitive game mode, that's more than achievable. And what this does is, first of all, it allows everybody to play ranked. You know, EA straight away is saying to you, if you're not good enough to qualify for ranked, you can't even play ranked. That is just idiotic. Every single esport allows everybody to play ranked. Everybody. There might be some certain stipulations to happen before you can play ranked. For example, in League of Legends, you have to get to level 30 as like your account has to be level 30 before you go into ranked. The reason they do that is because they don't want inexperienced players ruining ranked games. So basically, between level 1 when you create your League of Legends account and level 30, you gain experience at the end of every game and it pushes you up the levels. And the idea is that by the time you hit level 30, you've got enough experience about the game that you know how it works, that when going into ranked, you're not just going to troll the hell out of people and ruin everybody else's day. In FIFA, that's quite unnecessary because it's just a 1v1, one game situation. So, you know, why not allow everybody to go and play FIFA ranked? Why not allow everybody to play FUT Champions and try their hand at ranked gameplay and being the best? So with what I would like I say, I would like a situation where you have placement matches and then people complain, oh, what about the rewards? People are going to miss out on rewards. Well, right now, you know, rewards are a bit stupid because right now, if you lose to a bronze 3 player, you just get a loss. And if you lose to a top 100 player, you just get a loss. If you get disconnected from the EA servers, you just get a loss. And you can't get that back. It just punishes you. Imagine if you're on 24 wins with a game left and you come up against #TAS. Now you're going to miss out on Gold 1 because you got unfairly matched against TAS. Imagine you're also on 24 wins and you get matched up against a guy who usually finishes Silver 3. Now you're going to get Gold 1 because you unfairly got matched against a player way lower than you. Well, if they used ELO and a ranked ladder system, if you was in a situation where you was just on the brink of getting Gold 1 and you came up against TAS and you lost, you would lose minimal amount of ELO points. Because he's so far high rated against you that if you played someone on your same level and you lost, you might lose 15 ELO points. If you played someone way below your level and lost, you might lose 30 ELO points. But if you played someone so high above your ELO level and lost, you might only lose 1 or 2 ELO points. So you might have been one good win away from getting into Gold 1. And in the current system, you lose, you've just lost, you can't get Gold 1. In an ELO system, a ranked ladder, a tiered system, you lose to that sick dude, you still might only be 1 win away. Okay, you lose to a guy on your level, now you might have to win 2 games in a row to push yourself up. But what it means is it allows you to take a loss and to it not be defining to your weekend. And what will happen is you'll see players at the top level, the pro players, the top 100 players, they won't get 40-0. They'll have much, once they get there, they'll have much more difficult games and they'll have much more even records. Yeah, like what you'll see is you'll actually see the top dudes playing against the top dudes. And what I see on Twitter a lot and what I saw on Reddit is, oh, but that's not fair because then they're going to get less rewards. Well, they won't, because it's the same situation for the dude at Gold 2. If you're a top 100 dude and you lose to a top 100 dude, you lose a minor amount of ELO points. So you don't get deranked by that one loss. You're still in the top 100 or you're still in the Elite 1 tier. And the same thing if you beat that top 100 dudes, it's not just one win that moves you from 30 wins to 31 wins and closer to Elite 2. You just gain a few more ELO points. Or once you get into the top 100, once you get into that top tier, you gain ELO points that might rank you above and rank you above and rank you above. Or you might lose a game and you'll drop some ELO points. So you might drop from 4th down to 19th off of a loss. But then you might win the next game and you'll move from 19th back up to 14th or something. So it's far less damaging. And what will happen is the system, the rank system for rewards will be a situation where you could be an Elite 3 standard player and you might play 40 games in a week, 50 games in a week, you might lose half of them. But because you're playing against evenly skilled players, if you lose half, you lose lots of elo, but if you win half, you gain lots of elo, you end up around about the same point. So although people might win less, they might have lower win percentages, because it's based on skill, like elo skill, ranking over a ladder system, the best will still be at the top, and people will sit in their fair spot, so that at the end of every week, what they could do is just either reset the elo and go again from the next week and dish out the rewards like that, or at the end of every week, because of the fact that decay is in, they can include, like basically like on a Sunday night, they can implement the decay. So if you didn't play, you get removed elo points. You lose elo points for not playing. So if you sit in, say, gold 1 and you're like, damn man, I'm so happy with gold 1, I'm just going to sit here for the whole month. Well, if you don't play enough games, week 2, they move you down to gold 2. And then week 3, they move you down to gold 3. And then week 4, they move you down to gold, like silver 1. And it's same situation as now, is that you might have to play 20 games per week or 30 games per week to even qualify for the rewards. So if you got, let's say you played your placement matches and you got put into gold 1, and you're like, okay, I'm happy here. You played all throughout the week, you got gold 1, you're like, next week I'm not going to play. Well, then you get no rewards next week. You get, not only do you get demoted to gold 2, so when you come back you're at a lower level, you also get no rewards because you didn't meet the minimum threshold of games played to be able to get your rewards. And that also stops people then from just quitting games. Oh, I need to play 10 games to get these rewards, let me go in, pause it, quit. Well, if you quit, you lose elo. So by playing and quitting 10 games in a row, you would actually de-rank yourself, which obviously wouldn't be very good and it wouldn't be very smart. So for me, dudes, that is what is needed in FIFA. Like, it works in League of Legends, it works in Overwatch, it works in Rocket League. Rocket League has tiers, it works everywhere else. But EA are like, hey, we've got success-based matchmaking. We're not going to tell you what success-based matchmaking means or how it works, but it's there. And if you lose a game, that's too damn bad for you. And if you disconnect from a game, that's too damn bad for you. But if you win a game, that's great. It just means one more win on the board. It doesn't, for me, it doesn't make sense that like they would go against everything that works. Also, by putting in a league system where you can play at any point in any day, and opening it up to the full complement of players on Ultimate Team, not just the people that can qualify. Because let me tell you something, every time I've done a straw poll, more people tick the box of I can't qualify than any other finish. Literally, last time I did it, it was about 60% of people that watch my videos can't even qualify for FUT Champs. So a lot of people, again, they come up and they say, oh, but if you do this, it's going to be very difficult to find a match against someone of a similar level. It might take time to find a match against someone of a similar level that is a clean connection. And I understand that point, but by opening the scope of players to everyone, it will become much easier to do that. Because there is a good 60 to 70% of the player base that can't even qualify, that now will be in there. And some people can't qualify not because they can't do it, because they don't have the time. So by doing it over a course of a week instead of a weekend, you've given, like, look at every other esport. Yeah, okay, sometimes it takes a minute or two to find a game on Overwatch. It takes a minute or two to find a game on League of Legends. Sometimes it's immediate. I would happily sit in a lobby on FIFA for 30 to 60 seconds waiting for it to match me up against someone who's of a even skill level and in a proximity that is decent for location-based matchmaking as well, than immediately getting matched up against someone who is way above or way below my skill level. As much as I enjoy the rewards in FUT Champions, I get nothing out of just smacking someone and making them rage quit. It just doesn't do anything for me. I don't learn from it. I don't grow as a player from it. And as someone who loves this game and loves esports in general, I want to become the best that I can be. I'm probably never going to be the best player in the world. I probably won't even get top 100 in my lifetime in FUT Champs. But for me to be the best I can be, I need to play against players on my same skill level so that I can improve as a gamer. Because playing against someone like way above, sometimes I learn things from those players because I'm like, oh, I didn't know this, I didn't know this, I didn't know this. But generally speaking, when you play as someone so much better than you, you get slapped about, you don't learn anything from it, you don't gain anything from it. You're just like, oh my god, this guy was just too good for me, that's unfair. Playing against someone worse than you, you're like, oh my god, this guy was just really bad, that was unfair. But playing someone on even skill level, you can really start to refine your game to grow as a player. And you can't do that with the current structure. So that's what I had to say, dudes. That's what I wanted to say. I just wanted to talk about how I would absolutely love for EA to take on board the other games that have successful esports and competitive modes, even to the point where like Clash of Clans and stuff match you against evenly based people. Boom Beach match you against evenly ranked people. FIFA is the only game where a loss is destructive. And again, to go back to like a full league-based matchmaking system where there's no limit on games. If you can fit in 1,000 games, play 1,000 games. And people say, oh, playing 1,000 games is unfair. But it's not, because it's skill-based matchmaking. So just because you play more games, you're not going to get higher ranked, because if you lose elo. So you drop. You don't like just continually gain and never lose elo. The way elo works is when you lose a game, you lose points. And when you win a game, you win points. And so it's a situation where if I played 20 games and you played 100 games, that doesn't just immediately mean that you're going to be in a better position than me and get better rewards. You might be in a worse position because you played so much, you've lost so many that you've dropped points. But the other thing is as well is that it will just really, really remove the destruction of disconnects. If you're in a system where you can play as many games as you want and you get a disconnect loss and you drop the elo points that you would have dropped if you lost, it's not the end of the world, because I know that elo point drop is going to put me in a lower bracket of players. So I'm going to be playing against people that, you know, especially if it was an undeserved loss. Like, you know, if you lose a game that you're winning, if you disconnect from a game that you're winning, you're now going to lose points instead of gain points. So you're going to go into a lower pool of players. You know, you're going to, if you got 1,050 elo points and you lose because of a DC, you go down to 1,025. You're now playing against people in the 1,025 range, where you should be at the 1,050 range. So you're probably going to win that next game and gain some elo, and win that next game and gain some elo. And what happens is when you get a disconnect loss, you're able to build your way back up to where you were without it being destructive. But right now, let's say you're on 33 wins. Your last game, you match up against a guy who's just terrible, because even though it's success-based matchmaking, we know that you can match up against a wide degree of players. Let's say you're 33-6. Your final game, you match up against a guy, you're 3-0 up against him in the 90th minute, and bang, you get disconnected. You now miss out on Elite 1 because you got disconnected while winning. Dr. Jabba, a PS4 streamer and a top player, literally missed out on regionals because of disconnects. He would have been, I think he lost 2 games in total in the month a couple of months ago, legitimately, and he lost about 12 games due to disconnects. In this system, those losses wouldn't have mattered, because he would have carried on playing, he would have built himself back up to a point where he'd have been in the top 100 and he would have gone to regionals. I don't understand why EA are doing it how they're doing it. I wanted to make this video because I wanted to kind of explain to you why it would benefit the game, how it would benefit the game, and why the current system is just illogical. As I said before, it's far more difficult to beat #TAS than it is to beat some Randy Bronze. Yet, no matter what happens, if you played them both and beat them both, the result that you get is just one win. Doesn't matter that it was incredibly more difficult to beat TAS, you just get one win off of both of them. In an elo-based system where you play people on your same level, if you beat someone that big, you get a nice big chunk of elo points, it puts you up a level. If you lose to someone that low, or beat someone that low, you get minimal amount of elo points, you carry on playing at the same level. It's just a better system that works. This though, guys, is going to be the end of the video. I'm interested to see the discussion on this. This isn't me, by the way, I'm not trying to like whinge or complain here. I just see a lot of people that don't understand the benefits, in my opinion, from my perspective, of matchmaking and elo and it running into a weekend into a ladder system, a tiered ladder system, rather than just you play 40 games and the results are the results. That's what I want to see. I think it would benefit. One of the things that before I get out of here as well, one of the things that I see a lot is that for example, what was the league table this year? So some of the bottom ranked team, which was who? So it's not West Ham. Where did we go for last year? Well, right now, for example, if Arsenal beat Bournemouth, they only get 3 points, and if they beat Chelsea, they also only get 3 points. But what people don't see is that the Premier League is the top 100, and then League One is Elite 1, 2, and 3, and then League 2 is Gold 1, 2, and 3. So Bournemouth might lose to Arsenal and get no points, and then Arsenal might beat Chelsea and get the same 3 points, but Bournemouth are also not playing Walsall from the 3rd division. So why should top 100 players play against players in Silver 3 and Gold 3? It's a big mismatch in balance. But anyway, dudes, this is going to be the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this makes some good discussion and people don't just turn off and are like, oh, this guy complaining again. Because I think this is really important to the future of FIFA and the future of competitive esports within FIFA, that this stuff is discussed and that EA are aware that there are so many games out there that have a successful esports system that EA are turning their nose up at because of, I don't know why. I literally don't know why the current system is in place like it is. But thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. I'm out.